Welcome back, everyone. This is Joe Rendacci from Two Vintage Sports Guys doing a very special podcast today. My co-host Paul is still somewhere out there on vacation. I think he's in this state of chaos as usual, but we're not going to worry about Paul today. We have the legendary Tommy John, one of the best southpaws ever to play Major League Baseball, here with us, and we're going to go through his just remarkable career. He had, for those that don't know, a career that spanned 26 seasons from 1963 through 1989. He was on Cleveland, he was on the Chicago White Sox, the Dodgers, the Yankees, California, and Oakland. He finished with a 288, 231 record, which is 26th best all time. On the Southpaws, he was number 7 all time. And just a little note, he hit 5 homers as the hitting legend in him, which is better than most pitchers ever did. He was in 760 games, which was 700 starts. That's 8th all time. These numbers are just staggering. 4,710 innings pitched for 20th all time. An ERA of 3.34 with 2,245 strikeouts. That's 162 complete games with 46 shutouts. Just compare that to pitchers nowadays who are lucky they could get through 5 innings to get a win in their column. His postseason record was 6-3 with a 2.65 ERA over 88 innings. He was a 20-game winner 3 different times, and we're going to work a little backwards here. His last game was May 25th, 1989, at age 46. And I believe he was the oldest at that time, and he was just eclipsed shortly thereafter. And that game was the New York Yankees. He was playing the California Angels. 5 innings pitched, but a reliever gave up a run, so he wound up with a no decision. And my last stat is going to be the most staggering to me. He holds a record, major league record, of 188 no decisions. So on top of his 288 wins, how many of those no decisions, if they weren't ruined by a reliever, how many more wins would he have? 12 would have given him an easy to get to 300 and a no-brainer for the Hall of Fame, which shockingly he is not in. We're going to just kick it off to Tommy now to introduce himself. And then, Tommy, if you don't mind, I'd like to just work a little backwards and some of your thoughts on that last game.
My last game that I pitched?
Yep. Why don't you just introduce yourself first? I just gave you one, but.
Hi, I'm Tommy John, former Major League pitcher. I can't tell you about my last game I pitched because I can't remember it. That's how old I am.
That's all right. I can't remember it last night. I'm a little bit younger there, so don't worry about it. But what the record shows is, as I mentioned, you pitched a good 5 innings. A reliever gave up a run. You didn't get a decision. You had 187 more no decisions. But what did you think of all those no decisions you were getting back then?
I didn't, I pitched to have fun, to win. No decision. I didn't even think about it, truthfully, until somebody told me that about the 188 no decisions. I pitched. That was my job, and I worked for my job every year, and come what may, I got ready for the ball game, and the managers that managed me knew that all they had to do was say, TJ, get ready. You're going to go in 2 innings. I get up and I get myself ready to pitch out of the bullpen. That was my job. My job was to pitch, and I pitched whenever they told me to.
So you took the ball. Was it still every 5th day back then, or whenever they said they needed you? Did it matter?
It didn't make any difference. Mostly every 5th day.
Now, I know you had after your surgery, we could just mention that quickly here. I mean, I how do you feel being known, uh, you're obviously known as a legendary pitcher, but with the Tommy John surgery, what's your thoughts about how now people refer to that?
I'm blessed. Um, when I hurt my elbow, I couldn't pitch. I mean, I couldn't throw the ball 20 feet. And I was with the Dodgers at the time, and we had an outstanding orthopedic surgeon by the name of Frank Job. And Dr. Job was our team physician, but he was also a very good friend. And he told me I was going to need surgery. I didn't want it, but he said it, and okay, let's go. Let's do it.
And it looks like you then worked with your pitching teammate, Mike Marshall, which says taught you how to pitch in a way to put less stress
No,
on your
no,
legs and arm.
that is false.
Okay,
I wouldn't
that's out there.
I wouldn't ask Mike Marshall where to let my dog take a poop.
See, see where we are now. Everything we get off the internet, we have to question it. So, was there actually somebody else who helped you uh, learn a different way to pitch after that?
I didn't. I pitched the same way before surgery as I did after surgery.
Okay, and going by the fact that you won 164 games after surgery, and obviously you went right back to what you were doing.
Yeah,
And some of your most productive years with the Dodgers and Yankees were right after that. Did you feel blessed that you were able to come back and still perform at such a high caliber and make the All-Star team three times after that?
I came back because that's what they were paying me to do.
And when you came back, did you take the mound with no fear of re-injuring it? Did you just give it your all each game? Did you feel you held back any just in case of?
Nope. I went out and I pitched. I warmed up. I pitched as long as the batters would let me. And then I went in, iced my elbow, and got it ready for my next start.
And being that you pitched through three decades of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you were a year off short of making it four and getting to the 90s, what's your thoughts on hitters you faced back from the 60s versus the 70s versus the 80s? Do you remember who your like toughest batter that you ever faced was?
Toughest hitter back was a left-handed hitter. I couldn't get the son of a gun out, and it was Dick McAuliffe.
Okay, I'm not going to remember that off the top of my head. Who did he play for?
Detroit Tigers.
There we go. Okay, and a lefty, no less. You couldn't
I
slide
could
that one past him, I'm guessing.
Nope, I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
And would you say going into was that what years was that about? Was that in the mid 60s?
Yeah,
Okay. And then as you got into the 80s, and when you start getting into the 80s, you're starting to see skinnier players with bat speed is always a thing. They started getting a little bigger and bigger, right? And we know by the time the 90s came with McGuire and Sosa, and they all look like linebackers hitting all those homers. But from what you remember in the early 80s, was there a tough guy to pitch to as you were winding your career down?
you named one of them. Mark McGuire was tough.
Yeah. If I remember right, I think he had 49 homers in his rookie season. So that man
Yeah,
can hit.
and the thing about Mark, his dad was my dentist back in California. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's funny. What about his Bash brother, Jose Canseco?
If it's funny, I got Jose out.
Well, I think he struck out fair amount, right? So, and I
No,
don't
I didn't.
remember, was he
I didn't
righty?
strike him out. I didn't strike him out. I got him out.
When I compare your record, it's funny if you pitched back then alongside, not on the same team, but at the same time with Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax, for those that don't remember, is considered one of the greatest pitchers, right, of all time. But if you look at his stats, and anybody who back then would probably know, he had major leagues for 12 seasons, but really the phenomenal seasons were only like the last five. He retired after 12 seasons, but his first six or seven, it was like the tale of two pitchers. Do you remember anything about Sandy?
Well, yeah, when I went in to get my arm operated on, I told Dr. Job, I said, yeah, when you're in there, give me a Koufax fastball. And he just laughed. He said, okay, I will. Well, when it came out, and he did give me a Koufax, but it was Mrs. Koufax.
That's funny. What
No, I don't see. I was in the American League and Sandy was in the National League, so I never saw him pitch.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's true, right? It's not like all the interleague play today, and I'm guessing you didn't face him, obviously, in the World Series. But did you, when you were with the Dodgers, was he part of the front office at all? Was he still around the team, or was he not really?
He would come down to spring training, and Sandy and I would just, we'd talk baseball and this, but he was a very, very nice gentleman.
As you said, great gentleman.
Yeah.
And you now came out of, and I know I'm not going to pronounce this right, Terre Haute, Indiana? Or how do you pronounce that properly?
Terre Haute. It's French. It means high land. Haute means high. Terra means land. And yeah, I was born there in 1943, and I started playing baseball, I think, in any kind of league or whatever, about I must have been 8 or 9. But I pitched maybe an out or 2 outs. I didn't pitch a lot.
Did you always want to be a pitcher, or did you start out on another position?
I wanted to be a pitcher because, God, I couldn't run. I was slower than crap.
Did you find that, well, there are a lot of lefties back, so I'm lefty too, and I think we're special people. All right, any lefty will tell you so. Was there a lot of left-handed pitchers?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Did you pitch or play against many
I
lefties?
don't know. Statistics mean nothing to me. I wanted to get the ball, go to the mound, pitch, like I said, pitch as long as the opposing hitters would let me. If they would let me go 9 innings, I went 9 innings. If they got me out earlier, I was out of the game earlier. But I pitched, and I enjoyed pitching. I had fun pitching, and I would do whatever I could do to keep that going.
And you were a true workhorse just by your stats showing it. If you were pitching nowadays,
but
like 5, 6 innings.
I was a workhorse, but I was a Clydesdale.
Okay, well, that's a good one, right? So you would have probably 250 more starts if you were pitching in the last decade or two, with the way they take everybody out, and we have specialized relievers and closers. It's just, but that just wasn't the thought back then. Like you said, you took the ball, you went out, and you didn't stop until you won the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And to that point, when you look online and they compare you to others after you, Tom Glavine, I see his name come up a lot, right? Glavine he didn't whiz the fastball by you at 2 miles an hour. He just knew where to put it to get you out, right? So
exactly.
And that's really all it's about, just getting them out. So if you got the call tomorrow from the Hall of Fame committee, Which hat would you wear into the Hall of Fame? Which team?
I do not get to choose that. The Hall of Fame does. So
Oh,
whatever
really? I
hat.
thought it. I thought it's always the player that picked it. It's the Hall of Fame.
No, 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 no. It's the Hall of Fame. They
All
tell
right.
you what hat you're going to wear.
All right. Well, just whisper into my ear, and if it was your pick, which one would it be? Or do you not want to share that?
I'll share it. It doesn't make any difference. I
Good.
had some great times with the Dodgers, especially with Lasorda. But probably I would wear a Yankee hat.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Now let's spend a few minutes, and if Mark will go, if you want to introduce yourself, and we'll talk about some of Tommy's cards in your collection. We have a good friend of mine here that's also a guest host today. It's Mark Turner. Mark, you're an avid card collector and good friend of Tommy. Why don't you give us a little quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah. So years ago, I was collecting and dealing in vintage cards, mostly sporting, 1910, 1911 sporting life cards. Um, those cards were comparable to the T206 cards, not as popular, but it still had Honus Wagner, um, Cy Young, and all the big players back then. And then the market was doing really good. And then in 2008, with the downfall of everything, the market crashed, like totally crashed. So I kind of got out of it. And then when I met Tommy a few years ago, I got back interested in trying to get, I have 99% of his cards right now, trying to get every year from 63 to 89. There's maybe one or two that I still have to get, and I'll get them eventually, but I'm looking for the high grade ones, like 8, 9s, and 10s. So they're all graded. And I also have baseballs uh, from him that he signed for me. And he graciously signed baseballs for family too.
So you said 63. So we have his 64 tops, right? Rookie cards with him and
Yeah,
Bob Chance on it.
it came out in 63 for 64. So
Yeah. Okay. So that's his first card. And I know you
yes,
have a bunch of them.
a bunch of them. Yeah.
And then what would you say is your next favorite card that you have of his?
I like the Kellogg one. That one's pretty cool because there's not many of those. Because the kids,
So that's the 1978 Kellogg's 3D Superstar card.
correct, yes. Because a lot of kids, I don't know if they came in the box or they cut them out of the box. I don't have the card with me. It's at my house, but I have a few hand cut cards that people would cut by hand. So they must have been on the box.
Well,
And
I think yes. And to that point, the Kellogg's card, the 3D card came in the box. That
oh,
was an
in the
actual
box. Okay.
card.
Okay.
But they're also, I'm not sure, and Tommy might know or not. I remember back in the 70s cutting the cards off of the bottom of Twinkie boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if Tommy had one of those, but I have a few of those that I cut and still have like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what so we have that. We have his again, when we look at them by decade, we
Hmm.
have his 77 Dodgers uh card, which you can see on the screen.
Yep.
And then we have the 1980 Yankees Tommy John card.
Yep.
And I believe his last card is the 89 tops, right? Tommy John.
Yes, that's the last one Tops did, but back about 4, 5 years ago, they started doing legends and limited edition legend cards. And I have some of those. I could get you better pictures because I know when I took a picture of them, they're laid out in my closet. Um, I don't know how good you got those pictures, but there are a few 2021 to 2023 cards that just do throwbacks just to show like him from. It's called Legends, I guess.
Well, the one I have on the screen, the 1994 Upper Deck All-Time Heroes card, right, with him in
Okay.
black and white there. That was the last one I found online, but you have others that you'll share.
I have ones from I think 2021 to 2023 that I believe Topps did for Legends. I guess they call them Legends, but when I get home, I could see better.
Okay. And ask Tommy how he feels about him still showing up on baseball cards every now and then on Legend cards.
Yeah, you're still on baseball cards, Tommy. One thing
Now
I
you
do have
mentioned,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you mentioned you have a ball, some balls of his. Why don't you give me some
Yes.
information on that?
Yeah, so I have a ball he gave me, or Cheryl and him gave me that last year he had 50 of these made for his 50th anniversary of the surgery. And Cheryl gave me, he signed the number 20, sorry. He signed the number 24 for me. He kept the number 25 because that was his number through his career.
Okay. And what other memorabilia do you have
So,
there of Tommy's to
I
share?
I have another one. I think I bought this off eBay. It's from him in 1977, and he won 20 games in 97. So he signed it, Tommy John, 1977, 20 wins.
Very cool. Very cool. What about what else you have? You have any posters or what
No,
other
I don't have
memorabilia?
posters. He does. He has a ton of posters about him in that office. One thing I do have to share before I forget, I asked him one time, the 26 years that he pitched, how many times did a batter rush him and try and fight him? And I think you said one.
Dick McCullough.
Yeah, Dick McCullough, one batter. Imagine that in 26 years. Now you see it in almost a lot of games. It's crazy.
Dick McCall. Wait, who did he say was the guy who couldn't get out? Is it Dick McCall?
I had a hard time, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the guy that rushed
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, yeah.
Why did he rush you? Did you finally hit him because you couldn't get him out, or?
No, I don't know. I walked the first hitter and he was batting second. And I walked the first hitter on like 4 pitches. And he gets in the batter's box and I throw a ball and it's high. And he backs out of the batter's box and I see him mouthing me. And I said, well, you don't like it? Come on out. And he did.
So he took that invite, basically.
Yeah.
But imagine that in all those games, only one batter rushed him. That's amazing.
And it's the man he mentioned was his toughest out. I
Yeah.
mean, that's entertainment right there. You can't make
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, no, Tommy's been great. I went to his 80th birthday party and Bucky Dent.
Does he want to mention his bourbon at all?
Oh, yeah. Talk about your bourbon.
Well, I don't know how it happened, but there's a bourbon out there. You remember the Field of Dreams, the movie?
Yes.
Well, who was the old ball player that walked into the cornfield?
Well, the actor was Ray Liotta playing Shoeless Joe Jackson.
That's it, Shoeless Joe, yes. And so they gave us, I don't know, 300 bottles of bourbon made from corn from that cornfield. And then on top of the bourbon bottle is the cork, and the cork's got my face and my likeness, my name, and all that.
That is very cool. And it was delicious. Thank you for sharing it. I
That's okay.
enjoyed it. Where where do you get that? Is it online? Where do you buy that from?
From here.
From here.
It's house.
Oh, okay. Well,
Email Cheryl dot Zeldin.
okay.
At
Is there, do you have a
yahoo.com.
website as well, or is it just an email?
No, just an email to her, and she'll.
Got it. Okay, I will share that. All right, well, we're going to get close to wrapping this up. Tommy, it has been a pleasure. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we go? Something that might have popped into mind?
No.
All right. Well, all right. Well, that's it. I want to thank the audience for joining us for this very special episode, and stay safe out there.